this is more for you. If you have a team, make sure that you are going and you are getting to the bottom of our webpage. Click on there because there's some permission forms that you need to fill out that are going to help us really connect and do this right. Hey, we also want to say to you that, again, I've already mentioned it a couple of times, but we are very excited that our ASL community is with us. They have access through Zoom. And so right now, Jocelyn West is interpreting for me. So as you hear me speak, Jocelyn is interpreting for them. And as we go through the study, there's going to be time for you to deal with questions in our chat room. And we just encourage you to do that. And so just really excited that we get to have this time with our ASL community, which is really important. Hey, a couple of things, and then you've been getting announcements. I don't need to give you every single one of you, but remember how much we want to pray with you, for you. All of that is really significant, and so I'm really just glad that you have a chance. And by the way, we're getting those prayers, we're praying for you, and we're seeing those things happen. So again, very excited for that, and want that to be the reality as well. All right. So want you to know that as we do this time together, that you get to, I guess you can see me again. But hey, that we get to spend this time in God's Word. So I'm going to pray, and then we're going to be jumping into our study. I hope that you are good with your thumbs or your fingers on your keyboard. We have questions that we want you to be a part of, and we're going to start right from the beginning. So get ready for those questions as we begin. All right, so let me pray. Heavenly Father, would you be with your word? Would you make it what you call it, living and active, and may it penetrate into our hearts, and may we find ourselves stronger and better for every time that we enter into your word and come out of it with its truth. So Father, I thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so hopefully you have your coffee, you have whatever you need, and that is all going. I have mine, one last drink, and we are going to be beginning. There we go. Hold on. I have drank. Let's see. Oh, the music was playing over. The music gone now? Hopefully it is. I apologize. There are a lot of buttons to push, so hopefully the music is no longer there. If it is, let me make sure I have that all turned off. There we go. Awesome. I'm getting phone calls from everybody. I have turned the music off. Is that better? Someone give me a thumbs up if that's better, that the music is now off. Okay, so, I am trying to do this. I have people that are helping. So I had hit every button but that one. There you go. Okay, so did you hear my prayer? I hope so, but I did pray for you, and we are going to be getting in to all of this fun stuff. All right. Here we go. Hey, so what we're going to be doing now is I'm going to switch over to this other screen, and we're going to be getting in. By the way, you should be able to get these verses through YouVersion. Hopefully you have done so, and you are ready to go. And you can see that the name that I'm calling this is Set Your Course. Again, this idea of capturing our thoughts. So this image that you are seeing on your screen really is kind of how I want us to be looking about this idea of setting our course. There is a road to travel on. There is an agenda to get to, and wanted you to be aware of that. So as we begin down this, I have a question for you, and this will all make sense as we go through this. And so it is this question for you to begin with. How do you like to vacation? And is it different than your spouse likes to vacation? So here's what I want you to do. In the chat, I want you to answer those questions. How do you like to vacation? Tell me, do you like to go away? Do you like to go to the mountains, beach? Quick answers, and then tell me quickly, is it different for your spouse? I'm going to see if I can even see what's going on in the chat. We're going to see. I love that Diana says not camping. All right, so I am seeing that you guys are answering. Hopefully, the focus is there, and I'm gonna go. So here's the reason that's important to where I am going in this study. Um, I will tell you the story of my family, and the story I'm about to tell you, for some of you, this will sound amazing, and for some of you, this will be absolutely petrifying. My dad, one time, I was coming home on a Friday, and I saw that we had one of those Econoline vans that all of us could be in, and he was packing the fridge full of food, and it had four captains chairs, and we got in. It had a table and all this, and so we could all live in this van and kind of like a little mini camper. And he got in, and he had two things in his hands. He had a coin and he had a dice. And my sister and I would take turns. If we flipped the coins and it was heads, we would go left, and if it was tails, we would go right, and then we would roll the dice, and that would be how many exits, or we would choose different things like this will be how many towns or whatever, and we just went. We just started going, and we had no place to be, and we had no place really or even time to get there. And so in doing so, it was like we were out to find things, and so we found an equestrian show. We were in Southern California at the time. We made it all the way up to Pismo Beach. We camped out on Pismo Beach, had a guy that gave us a ride on a sand rail. We did just different things. Now, for some of you, that would be, are you crazy? There's no plan, you just go, and that makes you feel, But for some of you, that'd be like, oh, great, because the point for my dad was it didn't matter where we were going. It didn't matter where we went. It was the fact that the four of us, my mom, my dad, my sister, and I, were just together. And so we did that trip, and it probably is still to this day one of my favorite things that I have of my childhood is that we just went and we found all these cool things, and if we saw something on the side of the road, we would stop. Now, here's what's interesting, and the reason why I'm asking that question is that that sounds great for me, but as you're going to find out, it's not necessarily great sometimes in certain areas. So I want to show you something else as we get in this. I want to know in the next question, who are my planners and who are they that play it by ear? So if you're the planner, you got to have every detail. You've scripted everything. I just want to, this is a quick one. How many of you are like play it by ear or planners? That's all you got to put, play it by ear or planners. And I'm going to give you guys just a quick, hopefully, few seconds to do that. All right, so hopefully I'm going to see quickly up here planning or play it by ear. So you have to understand that Tim is going to be in here watching this as well. I'm trying to make sure I'm careful what's going on. But here's the deal. It is interesting how we're different, right? We have planners and we have those that are like, hey, whatever comes and what goes on. Let me see what I got. I got planners. Planner. I'm getting a lot of planners. Wow, where's my play it by ear? Ken Rodriguez. Good job, Ken. In that, I want to show you this. It says in Colossians 3:2, so get your Bibles. And by the way, remember, all on YouVersion. The versions are all there, all right? Set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on earth. Okay, that's the passage we're going to start with. Set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on earth. So here's what I want us to do. Notice that the context is set your minds. And that's where I am going with all these questions. Set your minds. It is interesting to me that in our culture, what we have is that a lot of the times, when it comes to our lives, do not set our minds. I say to a lot of my couples that I counsel, I say to a lot of people that what we do is we're actually just very reactionary, meaning that what happens is we get up and we react to the day. What do I have today? Oh, I got to go to work, and my car has a flat tire, and we just are in a very reactionary place. And yet, throughout the New Testament, over and over again, there's this verbiage that says that we are to set our minds, set our focus, set what we're doing, set those things that are taking place. And so in this context, it says, set your minds on that are on things above, not on things that are on the earth. So I have an image that's going to come up on the screen for you. And this for me has changed a lot of things. And here's what I want to do, and I want to explain this to you. Back in the day when there were maps, back when guys wouldn't ask for directions, back and the directions would be go to this tree and then go to the dog and then make a left turn at the house with the blue shingles, those kind of directions. There was a little bit more of, hey, we could just kind of get there. We're going to get there eventually. Sometimes there's people that could set out and be like, I'm kind of heading in that direction and this is where I want to go. But here's what's interesting. Now I find out that what I do is like all of you do, I get on my phone, I go, I want to go here, and then this device gives me the fastest route. And notice that in that, that's interesting to me that my mind goes, the best route is the fastest route. Now, that doesn't mean that it's the most inventive route. It doesn't mean that it's the most, probably the most interesting route, but it's the fastest route. So I know that I can go just as fast as I want to go, and in that. But here's the thing. I think this is closer to where God wants to be, that there is a place that we should be setting our mindset. And the thing is do not get distracted by all this other stuff. Do not get distracted by all these other things that are going to say, look up here, look up here. And again, it doesn't matter how many neon lights they have, how much flashing, however. It's like, no, this is your course. And you need to set your mind in the same way that we set on our devices, this is where I want to go. And there becomes the fastest path to get us there. All right. So here's the next question that I want us to ask, and I know this is difficult because not everyone can do all this really easily. Here's the deal: what are easy distractions? If you know that this is where you want to go in your spiritual life, I'm being very specific now into our spiritual life. What are easy distractions? And I'm going to give you about two minutes, and then I'm going to jump back on. So again, what are easy distractions? All right, so I'm seeing some really good stuff come on. By the way, just want to warn you, I warned if you kind of came on late. Because of the wind, we are having internet connections between our two buildings. And so that's an issue because what happens is that it slows down. So if you're getting audio issues, that's why you're getting audio issues. And so I apologize for that. Hopefully, as we go forward, we won't have this, but hang in there with me. Hopefully, we're going to make some things happen. Okay, so in distractions, the thing is, what does it take? Here's the next question to avoid the distractions. How focused do we have to get? Again, going back to our app on our phone, if I was saying I've got here to go and this is the fastest route, again, neon blinking signs, all these other things, it's kind of like, nope, this is the path I'm on. This is what I'm doing because I'm not here to go down that road. I'm not here to go down that road. Nope, this is the focus of where I'm going. How do we get our heart to be that God goes, nope, this is what I need you to be focusing on, and the rest of this, how do we leave it behind? Those are some important questions for us to deal with. So here we are in Matthew 16, 22 through 23. This is an interesting context. This is Jesus explaining that he is going to have to be killed and raised again. And Peter took him aside and he began to rebuke him, saying, Far be it from you, Lord. Far be it from you, Lord. This shall never happen to you. So again, Jesus has said, I'm going to be killed. This is what's going to take place. And Peter takes him aside and began to rebuke him. Notice how Jesus responds very strongly. But he turned and said to Peter, get behind me, Satan. You are a hindrance to me, for you are not setting your mind on the things of God, but on the things of man. Okay, now, I want you to think about this in our context of what we're talking about. Jesus looks at Peter, who, by the way, just wants to protect Jesus, wants him here, wants him to be a part of it, and goes, no, there is a bigger picture, Peter, that you are missing because your mind is on the here and now and on the things of man. And by the way, you are being a hindrance to me, for you are not setting your mind on the things of God. You are not setting your mind on the things that matter. And I just want to say to you that if we sometimes make what's happening here so significant, that are we, listen, here's the question, are we being a hindrance to him? And what does that look like? Because again, are we setting our minds on things above, which by the way, throughout the New Testament, he tells us to do. And again, kind of a strong question, are we a hindrance to him? Because Jesus is going, look, I got a bigger plan here, and you trying to keep me here and not have me die means a bigger thing is not being accomplished. I think it's important for us to kind of wrestle through some of those. So here's the next question. What are the things of God? So I'm going to give you guys 2-3 minutes for you to wrestle with that question in the chat. What are the things of God? Again, I do know that we're having audio, and again, the internet's telling me that we're having a hard connection. Hang in here with us, folks. All right, I'm starting to see some great answers come in. By the way, I also get to watch what's happening in our ASL Zoom class, and they are having a great time. I wish I understood what the jokes were because a lot of people are smiling and I don't understand, but it looks great. So I'm thankful that they're having a good time in there. Okay, so the things of God, again, it's interesting. So again, could I be a hindrance to those things? I want you just to wrestle with that. And what is it about the distractions of this earth that are making it so that we miss that? What really are those things? All right. So again, he says to him back in verse 23, for you are not setting your mind on things of God, but things of man. And I wonder how much, even in our situation that we're in right now, how much of us are really putting our focus there when we go, man, could God be doing something so much bigger? And our eyes are missing the forest because of the trees. It's a question I think we have to kind of wrestle with in our minds, is that how can God be using us? What is he doing? Even this format that we're doing, is this changing the church? Is this a way in which church will take place? I can tell you that I know that there are churches that are meeting this way because of religious persecution. So are we in the midst of that? So there are some good questions that way. So I want to now take us to 1 Peter chapter 2, verses 10 and 11. And I want you to see that verse 10 says this. It says, once you were not a people, but now you are God's people. Once you had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy. Now, this again is Peter speaking to a Gentile people. Once you were not a people, but now you are God's people. But look at this next thing. It says, Beloved, I urge you, as sojourners and exiles, to abstain from the passions of the flesh, which wage war against your soul. Okay? I want us to focus on the word this. Here's our next question. Do you feel like an exile? Do you feel like a sojourner? Do you in your daily life feel like a sojourner in this world, meaning this is not your home, you're just passing through, or an exile, or are you fairly enmeshed with it? It's kind of a deep question. It's a big question because Peter is saying this is not our home. So I'm going to give you a couple questions to tackle that. All right. Starting to see answers. This is a deep one because there's a sense in that we should never be fully comfortable here, that this is really not our home, that we shouldn't know all the inside jokes, that we shouldn't be so intertwined with it that you really can't see a difference. Because again, I know that I have been in public places like Disneyland or down at the Fisherman's Wharf, and you can tell the people that are from not around here. You can tell the people that are foreigners, maybe by their dress, obviously by their accents. But it's interesting how does the world see us that different? Does the world see us as really what we are? Is that we've already kind of said, this place is not the end all be all. There's another destination that I'm journeying to. It's a sobering question. And it's one I wanted us to wrestle with. Because again, using the image that's on your screen, there's a path we're going down, and this is the road we're going down. And are we really a part of it? All right. I want us to go to Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 through 3. Many of you know this passage. This is after chapter 11, which is the Hall of Faith. All these incredible people that are mentioned there, Moses and Abraham, and goes through all of those people. And then we get to verse 1. And remember, therefores are powerful. So we just got done with chapter 11, this big, long list of people. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. The race that is set before us. And again, this imagery of in a race, I don't get to meander. There's a course. To do that race well, I run the course. I actually lose time if I go and take off and go and check out other places that are not on the course. The point is there's a race set before me, and the goal is for me to run that race. But notice it says for me to run that race, lay also aside every weight, the stuff on me, the stresses that I feel, the worry that I feel, everything that we just dealt with in the sustenance series. Lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, right? So it is these two things that are this idea of I want to run the race, but I definitely don't want a backpack of all this other junk, and I definitely do not want the sin that is clinging to me. And it's almost like, again, we've all, been pushed into a pool or fell into water with our clothes on. It just clings to us. That is that sin. It's like, no, that is hindrance. We want to get that stuff off of us. But the focus is then to run the race unencumbered as much as possible. Notice again, though, there's this mindset that says that there's this path before me. So, why do we burden ourselves down? That's going to be our next question. Why do we burden ourselves down? Or why are we letting that stuff cling to us? What do we feel is its value? Because honestly, to be really honest, a lot of times, if you ask people, they're kind of used to carrying that burden and they actually don't want to lay it down. There's something connected to that. So quickly, I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes. Why do we burden ourselves down? Okay, some great answers are coming in. I hope that when you see in the chat is that you're not alone. That's what I'm hoping you're seeing. That the reality is this is a battle and this is a fight. And it's really hard to remember that there is a journey that we're looking for. So here's the answer found in verse 2. Looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. So again, I'm looking to Jesus, hopefully, prayerfully in my life. All these other things fall away, all the blinking lights, all the distractions, and I just see him. We've all seen these videos of soldiers coming home, and they're moving, and they're powerful. But over and over again, you see that mother, that wife, that child who's standing at the fence, and they're looking through a crowd of camouflage wearing guys, right? To see the face of the one that is theirs. And in the moment that they see that face and recognize in that mass of green or that mass of tan, they just beeline. And they're running by other fathers. They're running by other sons. They're running by other brothers, other sisters. They're running past all of them to get to that one. And again, those people's stories matter and they're significant, but not as significant as the face that they recognize. How do we have a heart that says that we see Jesus and then literally we can run past everything else, as good as those things even may be, or even as bad as those things may be? How do we just run to Jesus? And again, you see people just dropping everything. You see the signs they were carrying. You see everything else. They're just dropping them and they're running because they can't wait to be with that person. I think that's just the imagery and the emotion that I want you to get. When looking to Jesus, we see his face and none of this stuff, none of the distractions, none of the other has any place, and we just move on. Verse 3, considering him endured from sinners such hostility against himself, so that you may not grow weary or faint-hearted. And again, that's the encouragement I want to give you when everyone was listing the things that are distracting or the things that are burdensome. Considered him endured from sinners such hostility against himself, so that you may not grow weary. That's the encouragement. When I am weary, I go, no, look what he did. Look what he endured. Look what he was willing to put up with. By the way, not from everybody else, just from me and my sin and my choices. And so, again, I'm hoping that last part of that line, so that you may not grow weary and faint-hearted, that you have that which stirs up inside of you to keep going and to be encouraged. That's my hope. That's my passion for you in that. I want you to know that we're now going to go to 3 verses really quickly, and I just want you to see something. I want you to see something significant here. And one is this. It's Colossians 4:14, and it says this: Luke, the beloved physician, greets you, as does Demas. Okay, so we know who Luke is. Luke is the one who writes the book of Acts and obviously the book of Luke. And so it's like, okay, Luke and the beloved physician greet you, as does Demas. The next verse I want you to look at is Philemon 24, okay? And he's, again, giving this greetings, and he's telling everyone of what's going on. And it says, and so do Mark, Aristarchus, Demas, and Luke. By the way, and he calls all of these 3 my fellow workers. Okay, so again, we have Mark, by the way, that wrote the book of Mark, Aristarchus, Luke, we already know who he is, this guy Demas, and my fellow workers. Okay, so I want you to see that. I want you to see the connection of those things. And then I want you to see this next passage, and it's this: for Demas, in love with this present world, has deserted me and gone to Thessalonica. Guy, every time I read that, I've read this over the years. Here's this guy that in these other 2 books are written as a fellow worker and as an encourager, but somehow Demas lost it. He lost the face of Jesus. For Demas, in love with this present world. Guys, we are sojourners and exiles. This is not our home. But for Demas, one that was with Paul, saw miracles, saw people's lives transformed, this is what it says: in love with this present world. Where does our heart lie? Where does our hope lie? I just wanted to share that with you, that even those who are closest to Paul, again, if we are not focused on the race, if we are not, again, our mind set on where we're going, this world can entice. All right. Galatians 5:7 says this: you were running well. Who hindered you from obeying the truth? Folks, we are fully aware that those in our relationships can either bring us up or pull us down. And I think that when Paul writes this, he goes, look, you were running well. You knew the race. You saw where you were going. You saw what was happening. Who hindered you from obeying the truth? Someone cut in. Some distraction got in. And that's the question Paul is putting out to these Galatians. You were running well. Who hindered you from obeying the truth? What are we going to do to not be stopped from the path that God has for us? So, here's my last question of the night, and then I have one more verse for you. What can cut in on you? What can cut in on your journey? What can cut in on your on your ability to run this race? So I'm starting to see the answers come through, and some of them are really, they're really powerful. Um, this message was really meant to be something where we really just wrestle through some of these questions, because I want to get to here. 2 Timothy 4:7. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. This is Paul speaking. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. And I have kept the faith. And he is so excited to see the face of Jesus. And I want us to have that. It is so hard for us sometimes to realize that the end result is worth it. But it is. And I think when we're really tired and the distractions are really out there and the horns are blaring and they're saying, come over here and look, how do we put our head down and run? And know that that's the race that's marked out for us. And again, not like my family did their vacation where we just went wherever we could go. But no, there's a race. This is not our home. And I want to be able to say the same thing. I fought the good fight, and I finished the race, and I have kept the faith. And I'm praying that over you right now. I want that for everyone who is hearing my voice. I'm praying that over you, that you get to be one who does that says, I, with his strength and his power, have finished the race. And yeah, a couple times maybe I got off the course, but I got back on and I kept running towards him. So I just really wanted us in this season, when there's so much distractions. And by the way, I'm fully aware that downtime is a distraction. Some of you are dealing with idle hands and what do I do, and boredom. Some of those things are, and then there's fears and there's worries and what's going to happen. And by the way, our staff, again, I'm so proud of our staff, and I'm hoping that you guys get to see some of the work that's happening, that we're trying to get information out to you so you can make the best decisions. But I just want you to know that I'm hoping that you have someone who has set your course. You in your spiritual life have gotten the app out and gone, this is where I'm going, and I want the most direct route. And by the way, that direct route means that God will take you sometimes on his route through crazy things. I'm not trying to say that we avoid any of that, but it's the route he wants us to go, because it's the race marked out for us. And I hope that is an encouragement to you. So, hey, again, we are doing this because we want to encourage you. Many of you are a part of what we've been doing through YouVersion. I'm hoping that you will continue to do so. And we'll have another devotional up by Sunday that you can be a part of. I think over 60 of us were a part of that. I'm hoping that we can continue to have these moments. I'm just telling you, I just had a great conversation with our youth team today, Sam Miller and Brian, and what they're doing with our youth. I know what's happening with our kids. I know the heart behind the staff as we meet and wanting so desperately for the ASL community to be in here with us. Technology, by the way, is fighting us. I will let you know that. And as some of you have said, even tonight, but we're trying, and we're going to continue to keep trying. The elders have made decisions to even help our technology get better. So I'm just very thankful for them that they're wanting so desperately if this is going to be some of the ways in which we communicate. By the way, even when this is over, if this is a way that we can communicate, that we do that well. So I've just been so encouraged. So let me do this. I'm going to put up a couple of things for you, and then we're going to let you guys go. Again, if you want to be a part of Ray's class, you are invited. Just go to the website, and all you have to do is go there and ask for the form. You'll get an invite. And Ray's class, which meets on Sunday morning, so we want you to be aware of that. That becomes important to us that you are looking at that. Also, we want you to know that Right Now Media, again, I kind of call it the Netflix of Christian content. We have access to you for that. So again, if you're looking for things for your kids to watch or for you, there's some great Bible studies on there, guys. I mean, some great devotionals. And so I want you to know that is a part of it as well. And then also, we just want to let you know that, again, as we go through all this stuff, we are hoping that we will see you at our live stream this coming Sunday, 9 and 11. Pray for our tech team. Pray for our worship team, all those people. Some of you will never know what hoops had to be jumped through to get things done, but I'm telling you, we're doing it happily because it's bringing out God's truth to so many people. So what I'm going to do is that I am just going to put up a screen here. You guys can stay in the chat for a little bit, and then when I see that start to wind down, I'll eventually just kind of shut off the stream. But it's been great to be with you. So let me just pray a blessing over you. Father, may we be people that stay the course, and that we have set our minds on that, Father, which is not of this world, but is of you. And that, Father, that in doing so, we will find more peace on the journey. Father, I just thank you for all who've been a part of it. Thank you for those who have been in the chat. It's been a blessing. Father, I thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys, I'm going to put up really, again, this slide. And again, if you want more information, make sure you're contacting the church office. God bless you guys.